Everybody, I am Keaton. This is Kid Catholic Season 6, Episode 21. And before we get into today's video, I want to let y'all know to go check out my website, kidcatholic.com. There's all sorts of things you can do on there. You can contact me, you can read about me, you can buy your very own Kid Catholic t-shirt, you can look at some of the talks I've given. There's so many things you can do on there. All my videos are up there. Please go check out 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and click the red subscribe button down below, and the bell next to it, that way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Also, share this channel and video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic, please and thank you. So for today's episode, it's going to be a pretty fun one, and it is going to be, does God have a sense of humor? So, let's get into it. I'm going to quickly answer the question, does God have a sense of humor, and then get into more details. Yes, God has a sense of humor. You think he's serious all the time? You think he's just stone-faced and doesn't smile or doesn't laugh or isn't happy? No, of course he has a sense of humor. He has joy. He wants us all to have joy. And I have the Bible right here with me. I actually have a verse in the Bible. It's Psalms 33, verse 11. It says, "Be glad in the Lord and rejoice your righteousness. Exult all you upright of heart." So that's just a quick little verse that talks about joy. And this is just one verse out of a ton of verses. I literally found a ton of verses. I just had to pick one to say. This is just one verse that talks about joy out of all of them in the Bible. It says, "Be glad in the Lord and rejoice." Be glad in the Lord and rejoice. There are others that say that joy comes when you are in the presence of God. That joy comes when you are praying to God. It literally says in the presence of God. So that does mean that God is joyful, that God is happy. He wants us to be happy. And of course, he has a sense of humor. Let me put it this way. God is supposed to be our best friend, right? We are supposed to become best friends with God through prayer, through getting to talk to him. Just like a normal human friendship, you would become someone's best friend by talking to them and them talking back, right? God should be our best friend. And so, wouldn't you crack jokes with your best friend? Wouldn't you laugh with your best friend? Wouldn't you make jokes with your best friend? Huh? You and your best friend would have a sense of humor when you're together, right? It's the same with God. If God is supposed to be our best friend, then of course he has a sense of humor. Now, I want to give some examples of God having a sense of humor. And to start off, just look at some of the things in nature, right? He made all these sorts of beautiful creatures in nature, and then he made things like warthogs and blobfish. I mean, just the names of these things in and of themselves. Warthog, blobfish. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he has a little bit of a sense of humor. Maybe not even ugly animals. Maybe animals that are just, funny overall, like seals. If you like a seal show or something, they can do tricks, things like that. They're funny. There's also, not that they're anything like animals, but babies are funny. Like some of the stuff. I have a little niece. She's hilarious with some of the stuff that she says. And God made everything, right? God made everything. He made all of these things. He made people, and people are funny. So wouldn't you think God would be funny too? It's actually one of the worst stigmas. One of the stigmas in the Catholic Church right now is that we don't smile, we don't laugh. We're very serious with everything we do. And when it comes to the Mass, yes, that is the case. We're supposed to be serious. It's the Mass, right? It's Jesus. It's the consecration. Jesus turning the bread into his body. So, yes, we're supposed to be serious during Mass, but that doesn't mean that we have to be serious all the time, right? We can still be funny. We can still laugh. We can still smile. We can do all sorts of those things, and that's actually one of the worst stigmas surrounding Catholics right now, is that we don't or that we can't. But yes, God has a sense of humor, and Catholics do too, obviously. I want to talk about examples in other people's lives, and I want to use this one example. I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of my mom's friends or something. Anyway, she said that she was going. I wish I could remember who it was. She said that she was going to give up everything. She was just going to eat bread and drink water for all of Lent. Just bread and water, nothing else. And she decided that she could, cheat a tiny little bit and toast the bread, because it's only bread and water. Well, her toaster broke. I mean, I think that that's a sense of humor in a lot of cases. There can be a lot of cases like that. There's been a lot of cases similar to that one. If you have a case like that or something like the toaster breaking, please leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to look at it. So I can't fathom how anyone could think that he doesn't have a sense of humor. Like, of course he has a sense of humor. Up in heaven, they're probably laughing and joking and having a ton of fun and joy and happiness because it's heaven, right? Down here we can laugh and have joy and happiness also, right? So, yes, God has a sense of humor. Now, I want to expand on this. When I say sense of humor, I don't mean dirty jokes, which is basically, it's sad now, but like with the society we live in, that's what humor is, right? That's what almost everybody looks at humor as. It's all humor can be. When that's not the case, and that is not what Jesus laughs at, right? That is not it. Jesus, we can be funny without having to make dirty jokes, right? It's very, very easy. They've done it before. Can you imagine Jesus over 2,000 years ago? Jesus lived for 33 years. He was a person like us, right? He was fully human and fully God. If he's fully human, don't you think he would have made jokes with the other apostles? Would have laughed, right? I mean, of course, God has a sense of humor, not only with the things he created, like I said, some of those animals, not only with the things he created, but also with the things he can do in our lives, little situations, instances in the Bible where we read about joy, like I just said, there's a lot of joy in the Bible. Also, if you haven't seen a blobfish, I really, I really suggest that you look it up because, I mean, they're funny. They're funny. They're funny. I got a little carried away. What was I talking about? I like completely cut off the moral lesson that I was getting into to let you know to look up blobfishes. So remember, yes, God has a sense of humor, right? Catholics, we don't have to be just stone faced and serious all the time, right? We should be that during the Mass, not necessarily stone faced, but we should be serious during the Mass because it's like serious, right? We should be serious during confession, during adoration, but we don't have to be serious all the time. Like, and obviously we know that, right? If you're Catholic watching this, you know that we don't have to be serious all the time, right? But there's that, like I said, that's a stigma around Catholics is that we are, and we're not. Um, and Jesus, God, definitely have a sense of humor, right? So yeah, so also remember, it's not dirty jokes. Don't get that confused because anymore, like I said, that's what humor means, and it's not. Also, again, if you have an experience similar to the toaster experience that I told you about, where like you wanted something and then you realized that it wasn't good for you because something happened and ruined it, and it was like a way of God's sense of humor. Please let me know in the comments down below, and if you want to know some of those instances, you can go and read the comments down below because I'm sure there are some funny instances down there. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
Now today's saint of the week is Sarah. Before you ask why I didn't say Saint Sarah, it's because Sarah is actually an Old Testament figure. And some Eastern traditions would refer to Old Testament figures as saints. So in the Eastern Church, they would say Saint Sarah. However, we don't use it for Old Testament figures. We only consider saints to be people after Jesus was born. However, we do still consider Sarah to be in heaven. And so since we consider her to be in heaven, I thought it'd be fine to use her for Saint of the Week. Now, in the Eastern Church, she is considered the patron of laughter. And so if she were a saint in the Western Church, we would also probably consider her the patron saint of laughter. And here's why. She was married to Abraham. Now, she was 90 and he was 100. And they hadn't had a kid yet. And back then, they considered a childless woman a useless woman. And so she must have had it to undergone of a lot of humiliation through that, right? Being 90 and childless until God sent a message to Abraham and Sarah he said, "You will have a child." And we read in the Bible the very first thing she does, her reaction to this news, her reaction to being a 90-year-old woman having a child, was she laughed. She laughed. She got the sense of humor. I'm 90 and I'm going to have a kid. She laughed about it. And she did have that kid. And she named her son Isaac, which means laughter. She died at the age of 127. And so, of course, she's the perfect saint to use. I'm saying saint loosely here again. She's not a saint, but we do consider her to be in heaven. So, of course, she's the perfect figure to look at for this Saint of the Week. She was absolutely incredible. Hearing that you're going to have a kid when you're 90 years old, that would be trauma-filled. That would be terrifying. But she just laughed because she knew it was God's will. She knew that because it was God's will, she was going to be fine. There wasn't anything to worry about, right? Because it was God's will, because God had told her. She laughed. She was happy. She was joyous. She had a sense of humor, right? She named her son Laughter. That's pretty awesome, right? Anytime we feel like we might be, we might not be happy. We might not be joyous, right? We can look to Sarah, right? Because Sarah was happy. She was joyous. And we read in the Bible that you can be joyous if you are in the presence of God. And obviously Sarah was. Sarah was very close to God because she was able to be joyous. She was able to laugh, right? And I'm not just talking random joy, right? When I say joy, when I say to be joyful in the presence of God, I mean real, pure joy, right? Everlasting joy. Eternal joy. Constant happiness. That is what we have when we are in the presence of God. And we should all be striving to come close to that. And anytime we feel like we are so far away from that all hope is lost, we need to look to Sarah, because hope is never lost. Ever, right? For us to come closer to God. And like I said, Sarah was obviously very close to God. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please comment any saint or topic suggestions that you might have. Also, please let me know any circumstances in your life when God might have showed you a sense of humor down in the comments below. Please check out all 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description down below. Also, go to my website, kidcatholic.com. I have all my videos up there. You can read about me. You can contact me. There's a photo gallery. You can buy your own Kid Catholic t-shirt. You can see some of the speaking engagements I've done there. There's so many things you can do on there. Please do that. And please share this video and channel with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic. So this was answering the question, does God have a sense of humor? Season 6, episode 21. I will see y'all next week, and hi, Brielle.